Congressman Elijah Cummings. His home was actually broken into, and the president responded with sarcasm. It's so weird calling him the president, but here's what happened. Cummings said, "I was notified of the intrusion by my security system, and I scared the intruder away by yelling before the person gained entry into the residential portion of the house." So Donald Trump tweeted a response, and he said, "Really bad news. The Baltimore house of Elijah Cummings was robbed. Too bad." Here's the thing, the burglary happened early Saturday morning, right before Trump started his week of racist attacks against the congressman and the entire city of Baltimore, essentially. You'll remember it started with these tweets. This is Rep. Elijah Cummings has been a brutal bully, shouting and screaming at the great men and women of Border Patrol about conditions at the southern border, when actually his Baltimore district is far worse and more dangerous. His district is considered the worst in the USA, as proven last week during a congressional tour. The border is clean, efficient, and well run, just very crowded. Cummings' district is a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess. He said infested. If he spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this very dangerous and filthy place. And here's the thing, Trump has actually tweeted something about Representative Cummings or the city of Baltimore every single day since he started doing this Saturday morning. And then only to lead up to say earlier this week that African Americans were happy with his attacks. Watch this.
The White House and myself and letters and emails and phone calls have received more phone calls than I think on any other subject of people from Baltimore and other cities corruptly run by Democrats thanking me for getting involved. Those people are living in hell in Baltimore. They're largely African American. You have a large African American population, and they really appreciate what I'm doing, and they've let me know it.
What do you think, guys? Are you appreciative?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where this African American community that was calling him.
Oh, please.
I guess I'm not a part of it, and it's weird because I thought my whole life.
I've been discriminated like I have been, so gosh.
I don't know. Also, today's making light of the burglary, that was just a bit too far for Nikki Haley, of course, the former UN ambassador to the US ambassador, to the UN, which is also still kind of weird to say. She had been defending Trump's tweets, his racism against Baltimore, but today she replied with, "This is so unnecessary," which caused Kellyanne Conway to hit Haley back with, "This is so unnecessary." So it's like you can't even just stay quiet when you see just even more.
Okay, so there's two things. Let me do the tweet first.
Okay.
If you notice at the end of their tweet, Kellyanne Conway said Trump Pence 2020. So now why does she put that in the tweet? Because she's saying, don't think about running against us. That's what that is about. Okay, now, which then leads you to question, why did Nikki Haley send the tweet in the first place? Okay,
exactly what I was thinking.
And which then leads you to realize that some people inside the Republican Party are now counseling Nikki Haley that she should consider running against Trump. Now, Trump has a stranglehold, if you will, on the Republican base. So everybody knows it's a fool's errand to run against Trump in a primary if the primary was tomorrow on the Republican side. And Nikki Haley served under him, and she's been cowardly and craven and sucking up to him the whole time, trying to ride off his base. So why start to divert away from it right now, especially as the elections get closer and closer? Well, there must be some base of Republican politicians who not only think maybe there should be a revolt against Trump, but maybe know something that is going to put more damage on Trump soon, and hence would open up an opportunity in a primary to run against him. Otherwise, right now, just going out and saying, oh yeah, I don't like Trump, is signing your own political death warrant in the Republican Party. And Nikki Haley is a slimy politician who would never do that. So she's angling. So she must think there's an angle. And other people are encouraging that angle. So what do they know about the state of Trump that we don't? Or perhaps they're finally beginning to realize, yeah, the guy's a goddamn lunatic. And at some point, this thing's gonna blow. And then we're gonna have no nominee. Well, then what the hell are we gonna do, right? So now back to the original story. Who writes about, look, there's a lot of corporate Democrats I can't stand. There's the entirety of the Republican Party pretty much I can't stand, or the elected officials. And although I'm gonna get to their voters in a second too. And then But if their house got broken into, I don't think I'd ever write like, ha ha, yeah, too bad, right. Ha ha, right? Because I'm not a jerk. You guys, the guys who follow Trump, you're basically like the sad, dumb knucklehead that's sitting next to a third-rate villain and going, oh yeah, boss, yeah, too bad, right, boss? That's who Trump voters are. You're so sad and pathetic. The guy you're following is clearly the villain in the movie. I mean, which good guy in a movie, or any story you've ever heard, a childhood story, anything that has a moral of the story, does the hero ever go, I'm glad you were hurt? I've never seen that. I've never seen that in all of human history. No story ends with, I'm glad you were hurt. Right? That's because it's in human nature to actually help people and to be decent and not to be a jerk like Donald Trump. And I'm trying to be as polite as possible, right? But there's a whole 25 to 30% of this country who goes, oh, I love people who are raging a-holes. I love them. And this guy's such a prick to people who don't look like me. I love that, right? Okay, then that's who you are. And media, I'm so tired of you with your neutrality. I don't know, on the one side is one guy saying, I'm glad your house was robbed. I'm gonna rub your face in it. And on the other, and a whole party, not just Trump, don't make that excuse. A whole party, all the elected officials, and their entire voter base going, yeah! Oh man, it's too bad there wasn't more damage, right? And then there's people going, oh my God, are you okay? And are otherwise decent human beings. And you call that even? It's not even. Republican voters are the worst. Oh, by the way, Republican voters, go ahead and get triggered. Go find a safe space and start crying right now.
Oh, it's like the situation with Cummings. It's clear that he essentially is in a position of power right now, being on the oversight committee and possibly being able to reach into Trump's finances, his dealings, what's going on in terms of the White House with the Hatch Act potential violations. And it's really interesting because when the Republicans were heading up this committee over the years, they really abused their subpoena power. And I think it was back in about 97 to 2002, Dan Burton, he sent over 1,000 subpoenas and a lot of them going directly to Bill Clinton's stuff to get info. And he abused it to no extremes. And hey, it's clear that Cummings could probably do that for Trump's situation as well. And so Trump decides to attack him.
So Adrienne, great point, and now you're gonna get me worked up again. Okay.
My bad.
So, look, Democrats, I'm so tired of you, man. So Trump calls Cummings a bully. Hilarious. Right. Obviously, Trump's the bully. I mean, again, we've also seen this in 1,000 movies and 1,000 stories throughout human history. What are you supposed to do with a bully? You're supposed to stand up to him. You're not supposed to cower. That only encourages him. So yes, you fight back with everything in your arsenal. Yes, something in your arsenal is called impeachment. I don't even want to get back into that. That's obvious to me. Now today, finally, a majority of the Democrats go, oh yeah, maybe we should impeach him, right? But beyond that, every one of you should be calling him what he is, a child, a loser, pathetic, failure. Every speech should start with it. Now, recollecting back on the 6 bankruptcies Donald Trump had, because he's such a miserable failure. It's so easy to get under his skin. It's so easy. Why don't you pick up a microphone and say it? And then he'll attack wildly because he has no strategy. And he'll be an idiot. He'll be say, oh, I'm glad you were robbed. I'm glad you were kicked. I'm glad you were murdered. Whatever, he'll say anything because he's a terrible, terrible person. Just hand him some goddamn rope. But no, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. What am I gonna do? Like 90% of them should be primary, the Democrats. You can't fight this guy, retire. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.